Good morning. No, I'm here. DP. I was doing something. Let me get some charts up here. But yeah, yesterday was a running in day place again. All right. We talked about trading range within a trading range, and it's exactly what we got. And maybe today will be different. As always, we look at the different into-market pieces of information we can look at to come to some conclusion. Ultimately, it's got to break out or break down, right? One or the other. David Campbell asked me QQQ 3-bar play. If you can clarify that for me, I'll comment on it, but I haven't got to those cues yet. Right, so spiders going nowhere. Started with the gap up. It looked good, like it could take out the highs, but sellers were there, obviously up there. And, one of the things that what made yesterday from an intraday trading point of view kind of tricky was that it started out, besides the gap, it started out with the right information to support the potential to move up. And it just continued to deteriorate. And, ultimately it started to pull back. And so, one of the things that we say in the green room, as a matter of fact kind of thing, because of the psychology of trading, is it went down because it didn't go up. And I said, well, what the hell does that mean? Well, it's the psychology of trading, especially from an intraday trading point of view, in that when there are expectations for prices, whether it's the market or a stock, where the pattern, the trend potentially, this is in a kind of sideways trend, but could potentially go up in a bigger downtrend on the weekly. But from an intraday trading point of view, from this day, things are set up to go higher. And, we always say we'll go higher to where, and, it's the first reference point of resistance and taking out Thursday's high, and it couldn't do it. So after going sideways up there for a while, it started coming down. Well, what started out here, in the morning on that day was a very positive number of advancers versus decliners up around 1,500. And so when you see that, I see that, I said, okay, there's some real buying going on here. And, it's holding up well, and it stayed above 1,000. And, maybe it could have got up to 2,000. One of the things that we were looking for a couple of weeks ago was a move off of this low. If it was going to start, that was confirmed with a number above 2,000. And I think it was like 2,300 or so. So intraday, on a closing basis, that was. So intraday having, a value like this on a move up, it's like, okay, that's great. It consolidated and it went higher. Now I was like, okay, how long can this thing go sideways before somebody blinks? And then when prices got down here, the Qs were testing the lows. When I said in the green room, I said, this is the point where buyers have to step it up. And if they can get it back to the high of the day, which was possible, and it was still above the yesterday's close. And so coming down here, it was possible. We've seen this happen in the past where it can get back up to the high of the day. And the value here had deteriorated, which is normal. Sometimes you can have the same pattern, but it could have been even better than this. In any event, it just got to resistance and fell apart. And what I mentioned in the room was, watch what happens here. And I pointed out kind of a thing that it doesn't, when it happens, it's just like, you just got to pay attention. And that this, again, another to the psychology of the trading. It's like, okay, here is this pattern where it's set up, and there's a little tail and a little tail, and then there was more selling and a little tail, and then the bar closes at the high at this resistance. I said, at a minimum, it's going to stall and try and go down. I didn't expect it to come all the way down here, because it was like, okay, with this strength, maybe it would have came down here and set up and whatever. Anyway, the whole thing fell apart. And so another day, in essence, just running in place, going nowhere. But just want to point out something like this, where you see these little tails and this hesitancy as it's coming up into this little minor void there, and it closes at the high, almost, I don't know what the percentage of time is, but when you see that, at least take some money off the table if you went long down there. All right, let's clear that. Well, there's a little lesson for those of you that are trading intraday, to put that in your toolbox. And if you look at the cues, which were a bit better, they cut more, a further distance down near that support. And this was a little breakdown failure there, and so on. But same kind of scenario, coming up to the resistance, closing strong, and then, it gave it all back. So today, 407.80, so call it 408. Where's it gapping down to? Bottom of the trading range. All right. I'm getting to it, Jake. I got to go through my routine. All right, 408, bottom of the trading range. Will it break here? All right, so I have to know where it's gapping to. Right, the power of the gap, so to speak, or is it just another running in place type of a gap? Buyers could step up here and run it right back up into the trading range. All right, so I look at that. I know where it is in relation to that little range there. I look at the S&Ps. And so this down move beginning of the day could easily flip up into a bottoming tail bar, maybe down low, but it's gone from the top of the range to the bottom of the range. And there's this little shelf here we talked about last week, seeing if that would hold, and it did. And it went up, and you see what happened there. So how many times can it test that before buyers are going to be like, and this thing ain't going to hold? Right? And which little flush, and look, we still got this big wide range bar here on the weekly time frame. So we can't get too bearish with the power of this, but it is a void, down below here. And I'm skeptical whether this will hold if this starts to break, because it was already tested here. And so, in the course, I talk about using support or resistance as a reference point, how that weakens it. Kind of like here, just look at this maybe as a brick wall, and you shoot something at it and it holds and puts a little hole in it, and then you shoot at it again and it puts a hole in it. And just common sense is like, how many times can you test something as a reference point, and after this amount of time, how reliable will it be? Well, it's not going to be as reliable as it was here, as it is here. So again, more common sense. So bottom of the trading range, right? SPX, it's at the bottom of the trading range. What's below it? Well, bottom of the trading range puts it below 4,100, give or take. Right? If it's down here, so that little leg is gone. Now, looking at the premiums that are available, assuming that breaks, just seeing what kind of juice is relatively close. So 4,100 now, which is it's at. Wow. Was that right? I got to check to make sure I'm on the right thing here. Yeah, SPX. 3,180 by 32. Wow. All right. So that you got some big activity going on, looking to hedge this move down, or bet on it. It's going to keep going. So as far as today goes, how much open interest comes into play, just looking at the numbers where they get bigger, 40, 50, 1.7, not a big deal, 40, 25, 3,200, 4,000, 4,000, 4,300. And I don't have time to look at other days to expiration. So 4,000 is big. And Jake is suggesting to me 39.85. 39.85. Freaking TC 2000 just cleared the quotes. I'm sorry. You could tell me whatever it is. Just so I don't, whatever. I'll look at it on IB in a minute. I would say that should be close to a no-brainer, Jake. And especially if this starts to drop at the open down toward 40.50, which is that first line of defense there, and the open gap, we could probably go even lower. So we're always, my point of view with these is always to look to fade the move. And so at the appropriate time, not just, oh, let's just fade this thing and it's getting started. No, that's stupid, because these things will explode in premium as it moves down. It's that, it's going down. You get a high tick extreme, near some support, and you get far enough away, and it's close to no brainer, and then it begins to evaporate pretty quick. And so on the upside, which the quotes are gone, I don't know why they do that. Anyway, when we look at it, it's down at the bottom of the range. To get to the top of the range and then beyond that, if there was premium intraday above 4,200, consider it. I mean, that would be bullish if it got up there, of course, but you'd have to assess that. Right now, the big juice is on the downside. Okay. All right, let me continue. Qs, same story. Looks like they're breaking below the range. That doesn't mean they won't pop right back up. So, just moving underneath there a lot of times, it'll break it and go back up again. But do take note that this, when we talked about it a week or so ago, was never tested. So that is something that I will provide some level of support to this market. Now, if you were watching yesterday, and I told everybody in the green room when prices were going up, I was like, I don't know how this market's not paying attention to this, but this was moving up. And I said, now it's at 3,000. It's going above 3,000. Market don't give a shit, until it did. The AD line was what it was. And then, all of a sudden it was okay. Buyers, institutions start saying, let's get it the hell out of the way. And so now it's down a little bit. So maybe the market taking a breath from this. And every institution, they're talking about inflation number on Friday. We all know that there's inflation. It's out of control, right? The nut job in the White House that seems to want to fudge it. Anyway, coming down to the bottom of the trading range, and basically, look, intraday, significant things happen. From a daily chart perspective, nothing's happening. So whipsaws. Nothing's happening here. No, it's even showing relative strength. Yeah, I'm just seeing your mention there, John. Above 4,200 should be fine. And you'd have to travel pretty far to get up there. Now, Bitcoin was strong yesterday, and look at today, right? So every day, it's like one day, it's like, and this is what these trading range type of things go, that the bars are overlapping. It keeps us second guessing all the time. It's like, okay, here's strong. If it takes out the high, this goes up, market goes up. What about interest rates going up? Well, I guess they'll have to come down. They come down a little bit. Bitcoin's dropping. It's like, avoid weakest link in the chart. Power move, but the weakest link. And there's an example of it. Not supposed to go all the way down. And now it can go down below. If this starts to break, market starts to break, interest rates go up, maybe you could throw more gas on the fire. The dollar starts going up. And we get that washout. You remember a couple of weeks ago, I was hoping that this would come back down over here one more time. And if this breaks, we just may get a move down there. Weakest link is the void. It's been happening every day. Anyway, right. It'll end sooner or later. I just hope it ends with a washout to the downside, and we can make some, good move up. Anyway, grinding its way up. Grinder, silver, mess, gold a mess. That's the takeaway from this long explanation where Dan and I tried to add some things you can take away into your trading, whether it's for today or the rest, of course, in the rest of your life. But after the little lessons, the takeaway here, it's a mess. All yours, Dan.
All right, good morning. All right, so yeah, we did start picking up a couple more bullish positions yesterday morning based on, Greg's analysis there, gap up, acting strong, this and that, our patterns. We had a ton of longs and shorts. A couple of the shorts actually hit though. And then I canceled a bunch. So that was actually the exact game plan. So if you have any questions on opens, just ask. Otherwise, I'll go right to this first. So retail, I guess, is the culprit today. And this was holding well, actually a kind of an inverse head and shoulders. And now retail's weak. So I got a bunch of weak retailers here to look at. We'll be scanning that entire sector. Look at BBY has a price void. Costco's been a tank, but 457. Sell setups here. Well, the Lawrence, that's totally different. That's buyout. They said they're in advanced talks for buyout, so I don't even. That's what we say. It's on its own page. UNP. I don't think this is earnings, but that's a sell setup, daily, weekly. So that's going on my short watch list. Put that in a window here. UNP. But talking about something actually on its own list here today, on its own page, as we say, Play had earnings. Now, we don't call this a buy setup per se because it's in a downtrend, but it's a deep, almost 100% retracement, little bull flag, 180 reversal. Now it's a bullish gap with a price void on earnings. So I'll be stalking this as a beautiful earnings naked put or put spread based on what it does in the first 5, 10, 30 minutes, whatever. But if it holds well, 30-minute high is a long idea. Target 42, 44. I don't know. So that's my favorite long so far. JAN. This looks like some type of newsy toy. Gapping way the heck up here, but this was a buy setup and support. Not a clean one the way it came in hard. Beacon. There you go. This is, I guess, a recent IPO. Got smashed, and now it's gapping up in a buy setup pre-market. That, put it in a 5-minute window. That might set up beautifully. I will do it. Become Coup had earnings down a little bit, but I'm going to set an alarm at $73 because if it can negate that gap down and get over that resistance, then it'll be a bear, little gap negated earnings, high volatility. That will be a candidate to sell puts on for Friday. If my alarm goes off, fine. If not, fine. HQY had earnings, $66. We'll come back to you. Gapping over a red bar. There was Greg. We both missed this one yesterday. Look at that beautiful. That's just a vanilla breakdown. It's in a nasty downtrend. Couldn't bounce. Green bars ignored. 20 MA closing breakdown last Friday. I would have put that in the weekend letter had I seen it. Now it's down more. So Vert and Hood are broker dealers. Look at Hood here. Looks like a short. This looks like it could easily go to $8. So that's a thing. Oh, well, it's funny timing, Greg. I was just bringing up Bitcoin just to add something to your commentary. There were two senators on TV today saying that they're working on bipartisanship, if you believe that word, bipartisanship regulation for crypto. And who knows how much, I don't like, trading news is a little difficult, like how much is based on that particular news item versus some other stuff.
But that one says it's illegal. They want you have to use their currency. So we've never heard any government say we'll lock you up.
Yeah. Yeah, well, China would never be shy of doing that if it's in their interest, or at least, make people trade their own cryptocurrency whenever that comes out. So anyway, the point I was also leading up to here is we, in the crypto space, we always watch Mr. I lose my pre-market, yeah. We watch Mr. and Coin. So Greg was asking me yesterday, hey, which way is this going? And I said, I have no friggin' idea. No friggin' idea. I said, I got a sell setup weekly. I got a retest on the daily, no potent reversal. But look at Mr. is a more bearish gap under this low. So although Mr. had a more bullish gap this way, but this might set up as a day trade short or a call spread for Friday. Today's Wednesday. Today's Tuesday. So we'd have 3 nights of gap risk. All right, so let's continue here. Costco. They did something or other with earnings. I mean, it's bullish, but no great pattern. Kerbal had earnings. Let's watch that 30-minute low. ASO 3750. That's bullish. Not a great price void, but that's a beautiful pre-market. I'm assuming it's earnings. Yeah, John, we're both of those. So I guess your question, John, I have no idea what you're asking about this. It's fine. We're in a put spread. No, John, it's gapping a support here. And our put is under the week's low. I got absolutely zero concern that does not make it to my what do you call it? My penalty box. PayPal, yeah, it's a little worse, gapping under these 2 bars, but John, our stop is under here, right? Our strike. So yeah, so it's a deep. It's still in the upper half. So yeah, I mean, things are going to be gapping against us today. I can't help that. But both of those are, they're manageable. It's not a danger gap. All right, so Smucker's here at earnings. Now this could be setting up what we call a double bottom with a new low plus. See how it made a new low and closed with a bottoming tail? So that it again, it's not tier 1, but we teach about things possibly setting up with what we would like them to do. And you just set an alarm. So just eyeball that on the 15-minute chart, upper left, 123.50, right? 123.50, boom, I got an alarm, and let's move on. Oh man, I got a bunch of alarms going off here. All right, so my alarm went off already. So let's watch 5 minutes. Watch 5 minutes. I'm gonna put that in the window. Yeah, sorry, there's a little noise here. I got